Hi, and welcome back to Everybody's Garage. Today we're going to be dealing with a 2014 ST1842 Snapper riding mower, obviously. Um, kind of a unique story on this one. I'm going to give you a walk around in a minute here, but this mower is a 2014. It's been used about 10 times, and I think it's done more sitting than anything. What's going on with this mower is where it'd been sitting and then they tried using it and whatnot. I believe it's a needle valve leaking, and what it did is overfill the oil, thin the oil out. Next thing you know, the mower's smoking like crazy, just blowing oil everywhere, and it was to the point they couldn't use it anymore. I found a few things already which we're going to tackle, but give you a quick walk around here and have you take a look at this thing. I'm kind of, for its age, I mean, it's got barn dust on it and whatnot. It is stored in a building and everything, but for 2014, I mean, this mower is almost 10 years old, and it is in beautiful, beautiful shape. We're going to take a pressure washer to it in a little bit here, but this is all about the ethanol gas and whatnot. So, telltale sign right there. See all you had oil blowing out of the top of it. I'll show you exactly why. Watch this oil when it comes out of the thing. Watch how it's just dripping right off of there. It's thinned way out. It's full of gasoline is what the problem is. And also, look down on the bottom here. There's underneath your muffler, nothing but oil. Collected in the grass and whatnot. Now, if you also look on top of your muffler, it's the same thing. It's just a fine coat of oil, and that's coming from your valve cover gasket right here. It's just pumping right out of it because the oil is over full. So what we're gonna tackle this carburetor here. And also what we're going to do in this one, we're going to put a fuel shutoff in this zone because this mower obviously does more sitting than it does being used. But first order of business, what I'm going to do, she wanted me to sharpen the blades anyway, so I'm going to pop the deck off, but I'm going to pressure wash this whole mower down before we even start on it. And we're going to go ahead and pop the shroud off of it, carburetor and whatnot, and we'll go from there with it. So we'll see you back here shortly. All right, guys, so we're getting going on this snapper here. I had taken it outside. I didn't actually pressure wash it. I just washed it off with a hose. I did remove the gas tank simply because I'm in here working with a kerosene heater. I don't really want a whole lot of gas inside the building right now with open flame. But anyway, one thing I wanted to show you real quick. Now, as soon as I popped the hood on this thing, I noticed we got a bolt missing. Okay, I'm like, okay, whatever, not a biggie. But now the more I look around, I'm noticing some other things. In the very back, all right, you're gonna see right here, you got a bolt here. There should be a bolt here, and there is not. And the cover is loose as can be. And also, we have the air venting. This should all be tucked under the cover. So I'm wondering if this thing's been apart before. So we're gonna go from there with it. I'm going to go ahead and pop the shroud off. I had planned on doing this anyway. With any mower that sits, I want this shroud off. I want to make sure there's no mouse nest or anything else in there. But we'll be back shortly here. We're going to pop the shroud off, and then this carburetor's got to come off of this mower. So, bear with me for a minute and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so I got another little thing that is going to confirm my suspicions. So right here, kind of hard to see, got a little hole there. And over here on your snorkel, right here, there should be a bolt going through there. It's like a wood screw or something. That bolt was missing also. So I'm telling you, this shroud's been off before. Now also, I want to show you something. This shroud, the snorkel itself is all dirty. Intake itself is kind of dirty. We got a brand new carburetor sitting right there. I think somebody tried to replace the carburetor on this thing, and I mean, maybe it ran good, maybe it didn't. I'm not sure yet, but I'm thinking they didn't follow through with the whole job as far as changing the oil and whatnot. So, I mean, that's just my best guess for right now. But we're gonna dig into this a little further. Give me a couple minutes. We're gonna pull this carburetor off of here and see what's going on with it. All right, guys. So I did confirm, in fact, that this carburetor has been replaced. I had spoke with the woman that owns this mower. Her nephew, I believe, put the carburetor on this thing, and you know, it continued to smoke and all that. So I think I'm really, I think we're really leading up to the fact that the oil hadn't been changed, the valve cover's leaking and whatnot. But I am gonna pull this carburetor just as a safety precaution. We're gonna go ahead and check it out, clean it up and everything, and go from there with it. And I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. Part of the problem is I have not had direct contact with her or her nephew or anything else. She did give me some phone numbers. I never did call. I've been messaging her back and forth. Her nephew's the one that dropped this mower off. He dropped it off on a day when I was at work and everything, so I wasn't able to speak with him either. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm kind of like a lawnmower detective anyway. I'm pretty sure I got this problem figured out. But anyway, let's go ahead and pop this carburetor off real quick. And we're going to take a look inside of it and just take a quick look at the needle valve, just to assure that that's good. All right. Let me get to the point. All right, yeah. So you're gonna get these couple 7/16 nuts that hold the snorkel on here. I'm gonna get them out of the way. Then you're gonna go down here to 5/16 that hold the actual studs onto the carburetor. Unfortunately, my little Stanley 1/4-inch ratchet is locked up at the moment. So we're gonna crack these things loose real quick. I'm gonna show you a little trick. So, 1/4-inch drive socket. Your flathead screwdriver is gonna fit right in there. Make it a little kind of a nut driver. Fits in there beautiful. So we're gonna go ahead and get them out of there. Now I do have an actual nut driver, but I just figured I'd show you that little trick in case you're in a bind one day and you don't have one. That'll work. Go ahead and pop the anti-backfire solenoid out of there. Alright. There's your choke. There's the one for your carburetor, and voila. Let's go ahead and get that. Take a real quick look at this carburetor while we're here. I don't remember right offhand what size this is. I believe it's 7/16. Nope, alright. 13 millimeter. This is probably an Amazon carburetor. Let's take a quick look. We got gas spilling all over the place, as typical. Alright. So, alright, we got a beautiful spotless carburetor here. I am going to take this needle valve. We're going to soak it in Mr. Oil while I'm doing the rest of the work on this motor. But yeah. That carburetor is just fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm still going with my original belief that the original carburetor was acting up. They changed it out and they never changed the oil. So that's what we're going with right now. And we're gonna continue this in a second here. Alright guys. So we went ahead and took the carburetor apart and confirmed that it is new. That thing's spotless inside. The needle valve is working correctly. We're gonna have to go a little further with this one. I'm gonna go ahead and my suspicions saying that the valve cover is leaking and everything. But first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna pull a plug out of this thing and see what this thing looks like. So give me a second here. We're gonna go ahead and pull that. Alright, hopefully that should do it. Yeah, right. Until I bump the camera. Go ahead and pop the spark plug out of this thing. See what's going on here. These things take a 5/8 socket. All these overhead valve engines do that. Yeah. All right. Let me give you a quick look at this plug. All right. You notice we're clean right here. Got some oil around the edge there. A little bit going up inside. So that's telling me that right now this is a little bit of blow-by going on with this. Not a big deal. If kind of hard to see. It's very hard to see, unfortunately. I believe I showed that in the original video. If this engine had major blow-by, it would have been coming out the dipstick tube right here. And it is not, it was not, and everything. I got the oil draining into the thing here. It was just thinned out and over full. So, what we gotta do now, we gotta get this valve cover out of here. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and get that real quick. That should be 3/8, 10 millimeter, whatever you want to use on it. We gotta get that out of there. I'm gonna see what's going on with that. Alright, so as I had guessed, here's a valve cover for this engine. You notice right here, all oily and grimy and everything. Briggs & Stratton got to the point they didn't even bother using gaskets on this engine anymore. It's sad. They just use a little bead of sealer, and this is what happens right here. Once your oil gets thinned out, you know, with gas and whatnot, there's your leak. So I got to dig around here. I'm pretty sure I got an actual gasket for this thing, and we're gonna replace that with the right one, and we're gonna go from there with it. All right, guys. So we're still plugging away on this one. I went ahead and put the carburetor back on. As I showed you, everything was nice and clean in there. I soaked the needle valve down with some mystery oil. I honestly don't think it needed it. When this mower first got here, it had some gas in it, and I noticed the whole time it'd been here, it hadn't drained down at all. So I seriously think that the problem stemmed from the original carburetor, and that valve cover and the overfilled oil was our main culprit. But anyway, so while I had it apart, I went ahead and reset both valves. On this particular engine, your exhaust valve is going to be 5 thousandths and your intake is going to be 3 thousandths. The exhaust was just a tad bit loose, so I went ahead and took care of that. Cleaned up the surface of the head, so the valve cover is going to go on there. On the valve cover, I did find a gasket. I got a little bit of sealer on there to hold that, and I'm going to put a little bit of sealer back on this end when I put it back on. The most important part on this, when you put valve sealer on any gasket for that matter, don't goop it on there. Just give it a nice thin coat, you know, and go around the surface and just stick it on there, and that'll be the end of it. As long as you got a clean surface and something that's not warped, that'll seal it just fine. Now, when I was taking that carburetor off during the last clip, I did have the oil drain in and everything, and we're going to change out the filter. Now, if you ask 10 people, you know, whether you're changing the oil in your car, your lawnmower, or anything else, you ask 10 people what oil to put in it, you're going to get 10 different answers. So I just want to show you, this is what goes in all the mowers around here. If I sell you a mower, if I service your mower, unless you specify something else that you want in it, we run the 1540 Rotella diesel oil. And the reason for that is, well, for one, I have a good friend of mine that has been building engines longer than I've been working on engines. And this is what he runs. And it's good oil. It's got all sorts of protection in it and whatnot. I could really go into this, but I'm not going to, because, you know, if you want to look it up, go for it. It's loaded with zinc and some other good areas. But as far as the oil filter, we're going with a Motorcraft FL400S. This is a car oil filter, obviously, but this filter has something, it's called an anti-drain back valve, meaning which when you shut the engine off, the oil filter is going to stay full. So when you first turn the engine back on, it's pumping automatically to the thing, to the pump. You know, some people are going to swear, oh, you can't run anything but a Briggs & Stratton filter. Well, I'm here to tell you, yes, you can. That's a better filter than the Briggs filter as far as I'm concerned. Believe me if you want, I really don't, yeah, it really doesn't matter to me. I believe, as far as I'm concerned, that Briggs & Stratton oil filter, you're paying for the name. You're not paying for a good filter. So, I mean, you take that, anything I say with a grain of sand, that's fine. But that's what's going to be run on this. And it's not the first time I've ever done this. This is what I run on all my own mowers. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put a little sealer on this thing. Put the valve cover back on, throw the thing back on, and we're going to hear this mower run. And so give me a little bit here and we'll be right back with you. All right, guys, time for one more real quick update on this deal before we finish zapping it back together. I had mentioned in the original video, I had showed you where there was a couple bolts missing on the shroud. And I ended up, I sourced out some. I have stuff here. So we got both of these here. The problem being, there was the one in the back here missing. And come to find out, that bolt was stripped. That's probably why it was missing. I don't know whether it pulled the threads when they pulled it, or they tried to cross thread it going back in. Tried to put a bolt in there, and it wasn't going. Now, all your bolts are crucial on this shroud. I mean, ultimately you want them all in there. But this bolt is the most important one out of the four, to, you know, as far as I'm concerned, because that's what holds your dipstick tube on. You're gonna notice she's nice and tight now. I'm just gonna show you. This is the bolt that would normally go in there. You're gonna notice it's a fine thread. This is actually a metric bolt. And like I said, I went to thread it in and there were no threads left. Don't know what happened. But, so what I was able to do, I got an actual regular 1/4 20 bolt in there. That's just a hair bigger than the metric bolt. So it was able to cut its own threads. I put a little nut for a spacer, and I actually have a little shim inside to hold it. So, as I said, this dipstick tube isn't going anywhere. I actually can't believe that this thing didn't blow the dipstick tube out of the block with no bolt in there and the pressure that was going on. But, so that's going to do it for now. I'm going to go ahead and bolt this gas tank back on here, and we're going to call this one done. We'll be hearing you run in a couple minutes here. All right, guys, so here's the final product, other than, of course, putting the hood back on. Per customer request, I did put a fuel shut-off on this thing. Pretty much self-explanatory, but for those of you that don't know, this, the tab kind of goes in the flow of the fuel. This right here is it's gonna flow. Then when you switch it over like this, down like so, that shuts your fuel off. So I personally recommend putting this on any riding mower. Just when it sits during the off season especially, just, it's gonna, you know, it's not gonna overfill like the other one did. So, got that. Kind of hard to see, but we have no leaks in the valve cover anymore. Muffler's nice and dry. I honestly did take this thing for a ride up and down the block already in order to, you know, clear the rest of the debris off of the muffler and whatnot. Gas tanks back on and all that, but this isn't necessarily a will it run video, but it's how will it run. So we're gonna find that out in 1 second here. I want to show you. So, don't mind me, I got a little bit of a cold here. There we go. Go ahead and fire it up for you. No smoke, no nothing. Before I wrap this video up, I'd like to thank everybody here. This is actually a milestone video for this channel. It's going to be video number 50. You know, a lot of people had told me to try doing these videos and everything, and I'm sitting here, you know, there's 1,000 other channels on it and everything. I said, oh, why not? Let's give it a try. And this channel seemed to go pretty good. I mean, it's not famous by any means, but for the most part, you know, it's pretty good. And I got a lot of subscribers. I got a lot of people commenting and everything. And I thank you all for that, because I kind of built my confidence a little bit too. In one of my recent videos, I actually had a major part supplier comment, and they want to talk to me a little bit. So that could be something in the future. So who knows? But anyway. As always, I thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and just stay tuned because we got plenty more coming. So have a great day, and we'll catch you on the next one.